The world creates uncomfortable moments. It creates moments of unclarity. It could be an election year. It could be something as massive as 9/11. It could be a pandemic. It could be a recession. But there's countless moments of that uncertainty, and uncertainty creates confusion, distortion, noise, and fear. If you think or pretend as though you know all the answers, that's usually your biggest problem. You have no idea. You have absolutely no idea. So I think the first thing that I learned as a team player was to get in the dirt with them and go, hey folks, we have no idea what's going to happen, for how long, when it's going to end, but we do know that we have the ability to control our mindset in it.
Joining us today, we are here with Steve Sims, whom we met on a development call back in November of 2019. Steve introduced us to his book, Bluefishing, which The Art of Making Things Happen, which was a great read. It inspired Travis and I to really think big and realize that anything is possible.
Of course, we've still maintained our membership because I can't get enough of this guy. It's like, he's funny, he's inspirational, and just really a nice man.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So, you know, you have family in your team, a large organization, and we as leadership trainers, we are real interested in how during 2020 and even prior to 2020, how you show up as a leader, how you impact your team, and what you did to pivot for 2020 and get them all engaged.
Wow. So there's quite a lot of deep questions in that little question. I think probably the first thing that has been a benefit to me was something that I learned years ago. The world creates uncomfortable moments. It creates moments of unclarity. It could be an election year. It could be something as massive as 9/11. It could be Brexit through Europe. It could be a pandemic. It could be a recession. But there's countless moments of that uncertainty, and uncertainty creates confusion, distortion, noise, and fear. I think if you think or pretend as though you know all the answers, that's usually your biggest problem. And there's a lot of people that will stand up in front of that group and go, oh, it's all going to blow up. We're going to be great. We're going to be fine. You have no idea. You have absolutely no idea. So I think the first thing that I learned as I don't like the word leader, but as a team player, was to get in the dirt with them and go, hey folks, we don't know what's going to go on. We have no idea what's going to happen, for how long, when it's going to end, how it's going to grow, how it's going to diminish, how it's going to disappear. We don't know what the aftermath is going to be like. But we do know that we have the ability to control our mindset in it. We have the ability to search for an opportunity. So if something comes up, throw it in the hat. There's no stupid idea here. So I think the first thing to realize is, as soon as COVID came across, and we realized, and you saw it within my group with the happy hour thing that we did. But the second we noticed something was going on is the second you need to react. If you wait, then it kind of gets layers on you, doesn't it? And the more scared you get about something, then it's the fear that's the fear itself. You know, how many times have we been scared of doing something and then we do it and we go, hey, that wasn't actually very scary. But if we perpetuate the fear and it grows, it becomes this monster that we can never attack. That was like COVID. So when we got the lockdown, straight away, a couple of days in, I phoned up my crew. We got them all on the Zooms and we were like, right, we have no idea what's going to happen, folks. Let's keep the lines of communication widely open. That's the first thing. So acknowledge that we don't know what we don't know. Get everyone talking, because there's nothing worse than someone going out of the room, not having asked a question or misconstruing what you said or getting the wrong end of the stick and going, and that festers into its own little monster. And bad decisions are made out of confusion. So we keep the communication open, and we keep the unknown. We let them, hey, we're in the dirt together. What are we going to do? And so then as that started and the conversations still weren't going anywhere because we didn't know what was going on. I remember getting into COVID, and while I wanted to take the opportunity of every moment that I had, and we've had some great growth, both in business, but also in my home life. You know, I'm not traveling. My wife actually told me in March, it's the first month in 9 years that I hadn't traveled. The first month. You know, because I traveled so much for the concierge business, for the event business, and then for the coaching bit, I was always traveling. So I've had so much time to basically be able to look at my relationships, my wife. It's been a fantastic, my kids, you know, they can't go to school. We're in each other's space 24/7. And yes, every now and then that can, you know, rub a little bit, but the relationships have become stronger. So we needed to be able to focus on what we could. And we needed to keep those conversations open. And then we needed to be able to look at, well, okay, where can we create impact? Where can we do something different? You know, this has been done. It's like we've all been picked up. We've been thrown into a football field, and then we've been told, play. When no one knows what the game is, no one knows what the rules are, no one knows which end is the goal, you know, or if there is a goal. But in that moment, two things have happened with people. There's been those that have gone, all right, let's play, and learnt the rules as we've gone along. And there's been the others that have gone and sat on the bench and decided that their best impact on the planet is to binge watch Breaking Bad, you know? And that has been the two identifiers. I think it's revealed a lot. It's certainly revealed a lot of things that I did wrong, because in COVID, I would try and work on a new project. And because I had so much time, I never launched it because we've evaluated that it wasn't worth the effort. So there's been so many things that maybe you guys haven't seen that didn't work very well. And then let's be totally serious about it. We launched the happy hour, the virtual happy hour, on the first week of clampdown of COVID, thinking, who the hell is going to turn up just to kind of like tell really bad jokes, not be allowed to pitch, and just drink alcohol in front of everyone? And as you know, we've had people from Vietnam, Australia, all over the planet. And we ended up doing 21 of those because people needed it. So there's been some things that we tried during COVID, and they've educated us on what doesn't work. And then there's been other things that we've done that we've gone, there's a desire, a need, and an impact here. We're going to do more of those. So I think the beauty about COVID has allowed us to be responsive, to be trying different things, and then just putting a bit more energy into the things that do.
Yeah, for sure. We can relate with that too. Travis and I, you know, being partners in business and in life, I love that you touched on the fact that the positive impact of that was that we could collaborate on a bigger, deeper level. And so
it has really granted us the privilege of having good focus time on establishing clear, what is it you say? Be easy to understand and impossible to misunderstand. I love I love that statement.
Yeah, so we've put a lot of work towards you know, finding that for us.
Well, and to touch on what you mentioned about your team, I really like how you said get in the dirt, really open the lines of communication, as you said, because if you leave the room and you're not heard, another one of our sayings that we like is, you know, without buy-in, without weigh-in, there's no buy-in. And that's, you know, that's really, that resonates with what you just said.
Well, if you've got a team, the team's got to be an integral part of your foundation. That if one of the people in the team is not in the team and is just there because they're superficial surface, then you're going to get cracks in your foundation and eventually you're going to fall over. So you've got to bring every one of the team in and go, right, this is going to be heavy. When we brought the team in and money started going down, because the first thing that happened with COVID is everyone's finances got affected. All of my speaking gigs got delayed. Everything got changed. So the travel industries that I owned, we had a leading firm in, got buried, got stopped in a heartbeat. And I remember the first month, all we was doing was refunding monies for events that had now been cancelled.
Right.
So we had to change, we had to pivot, and we had to have some very uncomfortable conversations. And one of the first conversations was, we're hemorrhaging money within the travel industry. So this is what we've got to do. We still need you to do what you need to do, because we don't know how long COVID's going to be, but you're going to have to work twice as hard for less money. For us to be able to eke it out, we're going to have to take a chomp off. We're going to have to take a 20%, 25% off the top, reduce everyone's pay by that percentage across everyone, so that we can try and ride this out. But more importantly, I'm going to be asking you to work twice as hard. And that's what we had to focus on. And funny enough, and I'll go into amplification in a second, but we noticed a few chinks within our group. And there were a couple of people that we literally in the early stage went, okay, it's going to be better for you to kind of like, park it, move on and leave it here. Because what COVID has done is it's amplified anything that we're in. Okay. It's like when you have a few drinks. If you're in a bad mood and you have a couple of whiskeys, it puts you into a darker place. If you're already happy and giddy, then you're dancing on the tables. It amplifies it. If you've got a weak relationship, if you've got a weak business model, if you've got a weak business relationship, personal relationship, if anything in your life has been weak, COVID has exposed it. Right. If you've got strength, like in your relationship and in my relationship, it's amplified it, and it's allowed us to work on. My relationship with my wife is so much better now, and it was always good, but so much, we've already said, hey, I'm not going to speak in gigs on my own anymore. You're on the plane next to me. You're coming every single one. So, things have changed. So it does amplify. So any relationship that you've got in your team where it's weak, you've had to turn around and go, okay, you're the weak link, got to remove. By the way, every one of you has now got to pick up that person's work. And you've really you've really been notified who the gladiators are on your team now. And it's been great for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. We teach to the 5 behaviors, which, as you've hit on almost all of them. You talk about trust. When you open up communication and they feel like they're a part of the team, you have that trust. You allow them, to have a voice, which, speaks to the productive conflict. They're more committed to the team because you've made them a part of that outcome, and you're holding them accountable. And like you said, COVID has kind of forced that, because the flaws get really identified quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, in conflict, those uncomfortable conversations, like you said, that's the second leg of that stool, if you will, is finding that place where it's like there is a line that's where all the crap hits the table, but then sort it through and know that you have the team's best interest at heart. It's not self-serving. It's not here's my disco ball, but yeah, finding a common good.
Yeah. And then, like you said, the fifth one of that is results. And as you said, your team has had, because of the way you've managed this time period, you've seen great results in probably ways you didn't expect.
Yeah, we've been able to, as I say, we've probably built 5 different companies and then folded them before we've ever launched them, because we've been able to kind of like pay the attention to them to go, hang on a minute, is this juice worth the squeeze, and then gone, well, no, but if we pivot it into that other idea. And so it's given us a lot of that time to be able to do that. It's given us a lot of position. A friend of mine, Jay Abraham, he said to me once, he said, it's the idiot that sharpens his sword on the battlefield. And there's too many people that are waiting for, hey, we've got the vaccine. Next Tuesday, there'll be no COVID and everything will be back to whatever normal looks like. And they're sitting there going, great, Tuesday morning, I'll get back in the game. When it's people like you, me, and all the crowd that we hang around with, that we're sharpening our tools now, so that when the green light goes on, when that day opens up again, we're already off at 200 miles an hour because we are prepared. and we don't react, we activate. You know, we're out there for the opportunities. So I think that's one of the things that's been really good about COVID is it's giving you the chance to kind of look at stuff that works and go, great, going to do more of that, but also be smart enough to notice that you're working on certain stuff that doesn't. And as entrepreneurs, I've often joked that the easiest way to make an entrepreneur go bankrupt is to turn around and go, hey, I bet you couldn't do that for $10. The entrepreneur will be the person that will rise to the challenge and then forget the fact that they'll spend $1 million in trying to prove you wrong. And so we as entrepreneurs, we get the bone in our teeth and we run with it and we're going to conquer it. We're going to win. COVID's given us a chance to sit back and go, well, hang on a minute. Is the winning prize worth it? For all of this effort, should I be doing that? Or should I focus my ROE elsewhere, my return on energy, and actually focus it on other areas? So I don't want anyone hurt. I don't want anyone in trouble. I know there's a lot of depression going around, but I think this pause that we've had in the world should be used for greatness. And you should, personally, I'll say it loud and clear. I would like to have a COVID pause for 6 weeks every single year for the rest of my life, where for 6 weeks, we don't go out. Everyone's on the same path. Everyone's given chance to reevaluate. It's like the reverse of the movie Purge, where we actually just for one period, just to get the focus on what's important and also get the chance to focus on what we are doing and is it worth it? So there you go. That's my bit there.
Well, I love that. And that would be amazing if we could all be on the same page. But I do think it's worthwhile to learn from this experience and write that into your, for leaders to write that into their plan for the year, that they're making sure that they're planning in pauses to slow down long enough to speed up. We've coached to that more than once, and it's hard to put in place when the rest of the world is going at 100 miles an hour all around you. So I don't know. I think that's possible even without everybody doing it at the same time, but being purposeful in. I love that you said return on energy. Travis was just saying that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about your ROI all the time, but like you said, the return on energy is like, how much energy is the juice worth the squeeze? Is it really is that the desired outcome? Is that really what we're after? And really thinking that through. I love that. So you don't get muddled in the weeds.
Yeah, there's been events that I've done, and I won't call it out, but there's been big events that I've done for very powerful people, and I've made a great deal of cash. And then it's killed me for 6 weeks afterwards because of the travel and how much of my soul I sold. And it's really hurt me. And it's like the way I handle phone calls and my circle now. Yeah, I am sure that we can all remember having a phone call with someone that we've tried to either get as a client or retain as a client. There's been an A-class a-hole. And, you have this conversation with them, and the conversation's like follows the lines of, no, I understand where you're coming from, but no, that makes total sense. And you conform and you move around and you manipulate yourself to pacify this a-hole. And then you get off the phone and you're physically exhausted. And you've retained the client. Hey, good for you. Tick until the next time the bugger calls, and then you go through it again. But you're physically drained. And then what happens, and I've had this, someone phones you and you pick up the phone and you're already in the negativity and the relapse from that horrible phone call. And you pick up the phone and you go, yeah, what? And you talk to someone like that. Now, if you're lucky, it's someone that loves you enough that turns around and go, whoa, don't talk to me like that. If you're having a bad day, go for a walk or something and then call me back. But if it's someone considering doing business with you and you give off that energy, they're not going to pay you the respect of actually coming back to you and going, hang on a minute, you sounded off there. They're going to go, whoa, I don't like that guy. And they're not going to realize that you've just had a bad call before. So without you realizing it, all of those a-holes that you've saved in your business are actually cancerous, and it will bleed into the A-class people that you want more of. So it is a very, very tough time. So I really make sure that I lead with my ROE so that I know, because, and again, give you a prime example. If I told you to phone 5 of your friends over the next 2 days, okay? Actually, over the next 5 days, 5 of your friends, I would imagine that you'll probably call all of them within the first day to day and a half and be chuffed and happy and cheerful. Why? Because there's no effort. When you're talking with people you love and you laugh, you're there, you're in the moment, it invigorates. It's you're great. Welcome that call. But if I said to you, phone 5 people you don't like within the next 5 days, I would imagine by the 7th day, you've come up with a bunch of excuses why you didn't get through the whole list.
Right.
Because it takes so much out of you. So it's a great realization. You have to audit who's in your camp, who you've got in your room, and get rid of those and weed them out, because they're not actually helping you. They are cancerously leaking into the good relationships you've got.
Yeah, I love that. One of the things that I've gained from being a part of the Sims world is, you're talking about creating a way for who's your who, surrounding yourself with the who's that make sense for you, that fill you up, that you can impact in a positive way, and you this collaboration that feeds your soul.
Well, and it's interesting, Steve, is I was out of state doing a project for a little bit, and people that I would consider, like you're speaking to people that fill your bucket, and who you're going to put your energy in. And even myself, I Laura can attest to it, that I've done a really good job of maintaining long-term relationships, friendships, this and that. And it's the importance of some of them and the return on energy. And, really it's like, wow, you just get gassed and drained. It's just like, I don't have time for that right now. Maybe never again. It's like, if, not, and that sounds so selfish and, in short, but it's like, but okay, that's fine.
Well, it's funny because we all have to kind of like attack our mums for this, because as kids, we're always taught selfish is a bad word. Right. And as kids, you're playing around with someone and you've got your chocolate drops and your mum turns around and you go, oh, share your chocolate. And you're like, no, I don't want to share my chocolate drops. And they go, don't be selfish. So you're taught as an early age not to be selfish, to give without reason. Now, I'm an incredibly selfish person. That doesn't mean I'm not loving. That doesn't mean I'm not supportive, but it does mean that I first of all look at who I'm going to help and go, is it worth it? Is it worth it to them? And is it worth it to me? And we get all this education from our mums. Sorry, mums. But if you're on a plane and the plane's just about to take off, the stewardess or steward has never said, in the case of an emergency, put the oxygen mask on someone else first before you put it on you. They've never said that. They never will. So you've got to make sure that your energy level is there, your competency is there, your ability is there, because once you are strong, once you are knowledgeable of what you're powerful and how you can help, you don't help one person, you help a village. And that's what you've got to strive for. Someone said to me a beautiful saying years ago that you can't help someone up with broken hands. So you've got to make sure that you're strong to be able to help people. I make sure that the only people in my world I can help and they can help me, and there's an impact being created. And so, you say about being selfish, if someone's draining you of energy, and these people that take and take and take, 9 times out of 10, they're not taking information from you and building a business for themselves. They're sitting in the corner just draining you. Yes. Draining. It's like leaving your lights on your car. They're not using it. They're just happy because they're sinisterly just taking that energy away. If you can get those out of your life, you have more energy to give to those people that want it. Me giving energy to someone that's going to utilize it to impact their life, their future, that energizes them, their community. It also energizes me when I'm doing something that I see somebody else doing. I'm happy with that. Nothing can ever be stolen from me because I give it out to those people that are going to do impact with it. But if you're there to just, be a naysayer and a little neggy gnawer in the corner, then I will cut you out like a cancer, because that's what you are.
Yeah.
Well, that's true in your organization too, right? When you have leaders and managers and staff, creating relationships within your team, where your mindset is that you want to have a positive impact with the people that you work with, to lift everybody up. It's possible, and it can really make for a great organization. And that's one of the things that we try to teach too as well.
It's paramount. It's absolutely, it's probably one of the first things that needs to be done, and probably one of the first things that everybody overlook. And I remember as a doorman, God made me big and ugly to be able to stand on the front of the door and scare people, which, is a shame. But I remember that if I could control who walked through the front door, I removed 99% of the problems inside. But whenever you see someone starting a business, they try to grab anyone with a checkbook, even when they're the wrong client. And that creates an issue. How many people do you know that were starting a business and they would spank a lot of money on a website, a CRM program, a Facebook ad strategy, and they never had one client? So the first thing you've got to do is focus on one person. If you can solve that problem, focus on two others. If you discover that you're talking to the wrong crowd, you're at a pivotal moment that you can change direction and get the right people. So controlling the people at your front door is the first thing you should look at before the fancy wancy website.
Yeah, I really love that you said all of that. That's that's great words. So what's in store for Steve Sims in 2021?
Lots. World domination. It's been really good. We came out with the book Bluefishing 3 years ago. And I know you guys know this, but for everyone else, I didn't think it would take off. I thought people would, it wouldn't go anywhere. It wouldn't resonate. I released the book for two reasons. One, I was paid very well. And secondly, that gave me the ability to write the book that I wanted to write. And I wanted to change one person to be able to go, I can do things differently. I can aim higher. I can achieve anything and not just what I've done in the past. So that's why we wrote the book. It took a whole life of its own, and it's pushed us in a different direction: speaking, coaching, speakeasies, Sims Distillery, happy hours. And I want to perpetuate that, because I used to find enjoyment with the challenge of what I did, like close a museum, get people to meet the Pope, get them to hang out with Elton John. I used to love the challenge. The monetary benefit from it, hey, gave me a nice house and another couple of motorbikes, but it was never the goal. But I always wanted to rise to that challenge. Now, being able to take what I've learned from all of those wealthy people around the planet and install it in other people and get them to scale the business, that's where my joy is. So I want to do anything that can get my voice out there to get people to go, hang on a minute, I should do things differently. Because no one that did anything brilliant did it by following anyone. So I want to be able to get people to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, to challenge. We joke about the speakeasies. You're a prime example of paying good money to go to an event that, let's be blunt, you knew nothing about.
True.
You didn't even know the location. You knew the city, but you didn't know the location until a week beforehand.
Yep.
And I get so many people go, well, I'm not going to pay $2,000 to go to an event where I don't even know who's going to be there or where it's going to be or what time it starts. Tell me more. And the response is always no. Yet we always sell out because it gets the right kind of people in the room. It gets those people that are comfortable to change, are comfortable to discomfort. And when that happens, it makes you receptive. And that's the key word. If you can get people uncomfortable enough to have them receptive, then what you impart on them, they can then impact. And that's what I'm going to be doing, hopefully more of. I'm sure there'll be another book in 2021. I thought we were going to start it in 2020, but we've been pivoting on all different things. We're doing a lot more media. We're just about to release Sims Media, so it can help influencers, podcasters, anyone looking at brand, anyone in marketing, anyone that doesn't need direct coaching, but needs a direct strategy on a specific. We're opening up Sims Media to be able to do that with either me or my team. So there's a lot of things that are happening, and I'm really looking forward to where it goes.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, we're looking forward to following you and seeing all of your successes. And I know we're planning on joining you again in January at the Speakeasy in San Diego. And again, other than it being in San Diego, we just do not know what is on the list.
Yeah, and I'm not even going to be foolish enough to ask. Want to give us a hint? It's like, no.
No, it's real fun, because you get these eyeballs looking at you on day one, and they're looking at you going, well, why am I here? Who's going to talk? What am I going to learn? And it's exciting. That's my challenge. I want to make sure that, you get to meet interesting people, have interesting and sometimes uncomfortable conversations. 9 times out of 10, those uncomfortable conversations are with yourself. Now, I've got the best.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've got the best view of the room, because every now and then I will talk about, who's your who, what's your why, how we introduce ourselves, any of these kind of things. And we'll run through these little games and tests that we do. And you'll see someone in the room just kind of grimace, and they'll be like, damn, that's what I do. Why am I doing it? But we can only do things once we've revealed what's not working. And so if you're, again, receptive to being uncomfortable and that discovery of just going, well, hang on a minute, why am I accepting that challenge? Why am I doing it for the purpose of doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Why should I'm not going to fix it. I'm not going to make it shinier. I'm just not going to do it anymore. And I'm going to focus my energy on what's going to give me a better ROI. So it's real fun for me, real challenging for me. I'll tell you, I get terrified. I get truly scared. I don't know if you're aware of that or if I cover it well, but I get really scared. Definitely a week before the event, because the challenge is all on me to make sure that you grow from it. And so I want to make sure everything's working. I can throw in as much as I can. But let's be serious. There's a lot of people that get scared of being scared, so avoid it.
Yeah.
But when you're terrified, every electrode of your body is alive.
Yeah.
Why do you not want those moments? I ride motorcycles hellishly fast, scares the bejeebers out of me, because it keeps me on the edge and it keeps me alive. And so those moments when I walk into a packed room with you lot staring at me going, right, what are you going to do? Here we are, entertain us, get us stronger, get us growing. Everything's fine. I love that moment, but the week leading up to it, I'm off my food, I'm off my old fashions. It's a nervy time for me.
Awesome. Well, we are
awesome.
really looking forward to it. I know it'll be amazing, as everything we've done with you before. So
your last thing is, like, when you take that uncomfortable spot and asking yourself those tough questions is one of the things we do like to resonate with, is like, you can't always read the label when you're inside the jar. And that's where we get stuck at a lot. It's like you get doing your routine, and yeah, like you said, give yourself that pause just to, really look at what you're doing.
yeah, that's what this year has been for me. That's what being involved with you has been for me, really stepping back, questioning myself, questioning each other, collaborating with amazing people, and making those connections really come alive has been really fun for us. And so we thank you for having us to be a part of your world.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you for being willing. So that's the good thing.
We'll see you in January.
See you in San Diego.
Thank you, Steve.